What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 128, and I am Adam Choit. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram and on YouTube. Just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you're watching, you are already there, so please be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. That's greatly appreciated. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com. That will get you to all the social media and the links to listen and watch and all that stuff as well. AdamChoit.com for all my personal stuff. I actually have a comedy show coming up that I produce out here in Los Angeles in Sherman Oaks in the Valley. If you're going to be in Southern California, September 8th and 9th, definitely stop by That's going to be a lot of fun. Chrissy Mayer, New York comic, is going to be in town. So that's September 8th and 9th. AdamChoit.com or at Adam Choit on Instagram is me if you want to follow me. Same on Twitter. But today we're going to be recapping the band, Tedeschi Trucks Band, in Red Rocks. They had a couple of shows, their annual trip out there. It was July 28th and 29th this past weekend. This is Tuesday, August 1st right now. I'm going to bring on Larry Williams, past guest of this show. This will be his third time on, drummer himself. He was not at the show in Red Rocks. But he watched on the Nugs live stream, as did I. Listen to a lot of the recordings. There were all the recordings that came out on archive.org. Thank you for or is it .com.org, whatever it is, for the recordings. Thank you for those. So yeah, I caught this entire weekend of music, but partly on my phone, partly on my computer, partly on my friend's TV, and in my car. So I felt like, this was, as usual, in many ways, Tedeschi Trucks Band was the backdrop to my day and my weekend and all that stuff. And it was just amazing shows. The band just continues to go to the next level. Somehow they find one. But I want to bring on Larry Williams, and we're gonna recap it. And I got the pictures and set list and all that stuff. So let's get into it with Larry. What's up, my friend?
Hey there. Good to see you, Adam.
All good to see you again for sure. This was a fun weekend of music, was it not?
Oh man, just obviously you wish you were there, but the the volume of the camera angles and the really think expert job they did of bouncing around all the different viewpoints really kind of made you feel like you were there, and particularly the second night with the drone footage, just breathtaking. I still can't really get over that. I've never seen Red Rocks from those angles.
Yeah,
Um,
it was incredible stuff. Why don't you can tell the audience a little bit more about yourself, or just and at least recap, because I know you play music and it's a big part of your life. So tell people a little bit how your background and how you got connected to TTB originally, and then we'll dive shortly thereafter into the
Yeah.
shows.
I play music in two bands. Um, I do have a day job. I'm a sports writer. I cover the Clemson Tigers football team. This will be my 20th season covering them. But on the side, I'm in two bands. One is the Grateful Brothers, which is basically a Grateful Dead Allman Brothers tribute band. Has two drummers. I'm one of them, and so there's the natural, I think, pull of TTB and their two drummer approach years ago just really drew me in, because I think they're probably the closest thing that you can get to the Allman Brothers two drummer approach when they were at their best. So also another band called Amongst the Trees, which is kind of a jam grassy funk type Americana band with an upright bass, acoustic guitar, slide guitar, keyboards, and of course I play drums in that too. So a lot of fun bouncing around between the two. And of course, I think a lot of members of both bands really are in awe of TTB and what they do, and so it's always fun to nerd out to the broadcast that we got last weekend, just to study it. Really, like, it's really what I enjoy doing, and just getting a closer look at the body language and the communication, the sort of subtle communication that you have amongst the band members. Subtle but important, as you and probably a lot of the listeners know how it's conducted in a way that it's probably not obvious from 100 yards away, but when you're really up close, you can sort of see what they're doing as Derek is sort of steering them through all their different parts and all that stuff. So, anyway, I think I met you last fall when they played at the Beacon in New York City, and you know, really love to catch them every chance I get. Saw them in Asheville, their most recent trip to North Carolina in Asheville, and also Knoxville. I believe that was last winter, maybe the spring. I think it was the winter. But anyway, um, so yeah, just really, really amazed at how this band is um, just seems to be firing on all cylinders and just seems to be really enjoying themselves on the stage. I don't think you can fake that. Um, just sort of the body language that you see from them. It's just it seems like they're just having a blast and really love being around each other, making music.
Yeah, and I always love to get the perspectives on Tedeschi Trucks Band from musicians, like people who play guitar, drums, sing, because it's always like it's just you can already appreciate this band on so many levels just because their music is so eclectic and they have so many different components. But like just as a music performer, player yourself, and talking to people who can dive more into the weeds and the theory and some of the technical things and just some of the nuances of what goes on stage. That's always just so cool. Like I think about, I'm going to tie two things together here. Like even like sports, even football directly, it's like a sport where you can appreciate it as a fan on multiple levels and people can express their appreciation and enjoyment on different levels, be it taking mental notes as a musician or dancing and partying or screaming at a football game. It's just like so many fun elements to to life and music and sports, and of course this band.
Yeah, and this past weekend, it was interesting. I was watching some of the Fish uh, concerts at Madison Square Garden um, on their on their through their channel, and so they do a tremendous job with their all their different camera angles and just the quality, the sonic quality of their sound that they produce is just amazing. But it's just fascinating. I think not just for a musician, but for anybody to sort of take those to go from one of those bands to the other. Both are kind of probably lazily grouped in the jam band category, but you couldn't have two more different approaches in that, Fish will, they'll play, I don't know, Back on the Train or Tweezer or whatever, and they'll just ride the jam wherever it goes, and it could last for 15, 20, 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And there's, something majestic about that approach for sure. Like it's amazing watching that band, sort of their form of communication is they have to listen to each other really well. And they go off of, if one person has an idea, then you can hear them sort of gradually latching onto that one idea and then taking it in that direction just from an improvisational perspective. But then with the Tedeschi Trucks band, yeah, they'll jam, but it is all a part of a structure. I think it's probably closer to James Brown, his big bands way back in the day, closer to that than it is a lot of the other jam bands these days, just because it's all about that structure of the song and as we've talked about a lot, Derek's the conductor. It just feels like a big band to me more than it does a jam band. But it's really cool to go from spending an hour and a half, before Tedeschi Trucks gets started about 10:30 at night, spending about an hour and a half watching Fish do their thing and going from that to, you know, two wonderful, just ridiculously talented bands, but two bands that are going about it in much different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this, of course, a lot. We've talked about it, just like what a Tedeschi Trucks band jam or instrumental or improv is. And I don't always know, and I'm probably don't know a lot of the time, what is actually like improv versus like what is like, this is how I'm going to play. Whether it's very specific notes from a solo Derek plays or how many times he's going to go around on a solo. Like some of that is improv sometimes, I think, and some of that is more or less like, I guess I don't know.
Well, when I'm saying improv, I mean, or what I'm talking about structure and improv and all that. I mean, Derek is definitely, when he's soloing or when Gabe is soloing or whoever. There's definitely improvisation going on within that solo. Like they're doing it a different way than they've done it the previous time they played the song, but it's within however many bars usually. I mean, I think in the Dreams on Saturday, I think Derek took an extra solo on top of the one he had already. He wanted. I think he was probably feeling good and inspired, and so he went for longer.
Right.
But it's not the noodling. Let's see where this goes, and hey, maybe we'll go into another song directly from this. I think it's all mapped out in a way that's much more defined than I think than Fish or whoever.
Right. And I think it leaves room for audibles, as we've seen on set lists and all kinds of things over our
Yeah,
time following this band.
yeah, I'm fascinated to know, like when they release the set lists after the fact, and you see I really enjoy looking at all the scribbling that they do on them, and a song that gets crossed out or moved, to earlier in the set, or they swap one song with the other. Like I would love to be a fly on the wall and know, like, okay, when did that happen? Like, why did they
You
decide
can
that?
you can kind of guess, and a lot of the time, from what I understand, it's just time. It's like they get. Someone was saying, oh, that I forget, it was recapping a show. They're like, oh, the band looked like they were a little ambitious with this set list, like in
Yeah,
terms of trying to squeeze in a lot of songs in a shorter period of time, especially if there's an opener and they're not going to be out there for as long of a time. I'm gonna pull up the poster here. Let's take a look at that, and I'll try to describe it for audio people. There's definitely a warmth to this poster. I like it.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it the venue? Is it the venue? Is those the trucks from the venue kind of pulling up with, like, we got the TTB kind of birds flying around in the greenish
yeah,
red
that's
rocks.
yeah, and then you see the stands up to the right. Yeah, that's right. It's interesting. I was wondering, looking at that drone footage, there was just so many interesting things about it. I'm looking at the backstage part, and I'm like, okay, where are their buses and where's the load in and all that? I didn't really see where that takes place. And I saw a couple of 18 wheelers way down the hill, and so I'm wondering how does the load in and load out work there, man? It's got to be pretty fascinating, just because it's hard to get to wind up and down all those hills, getting to the actual venue. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, it's the alternate one we're looking at, which is just kind of more bigger, kind of red rock in the foreground, with the birds even closer to just blown up even more. I like both of these.
Oh yeah.
I think I like this one maybe a little bit more. I don't know. They're both pretty damn cool.
I'll take both.
I can pull up the set list here. Let's take a look at that here. Woman to woman, there we go. Woman to woman, playing with my emotions. Ain't that something? Life is crazy. Voodoo woman, keep on smiling. Take me as I am. Last night in the rain. Pasquan just won't burn. Part of me, walk on gilded splinters. I Am the Moon, Stay With Me, Made Up Mind, Come and Go Blues, in the encore, as well as Show Me to finish off night one.
Adam, I'm sure y'all have talked about Come and Go, the addition of that to the set list, but wow, like Gabe, Gabe is just amazing. Like his voice for that song, just perfect.
Yeah, we got Macon King here. Was there for MAKN King. Was there for both nights. Incredible 2 days of music, 6 TTB show of July. The band blows me away each and every time. If you want to come on, let me know. Find me on Twitter or Facebook or Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. I could send you a link if you want to come on and talk about your experience. But yes, I can only imagine what it was like. I did see a bunch of pictures people posting, and there's some starting to be some stuff on YouTube definitely popping up. But yeah, that's awesome. The Come and Go blues, and yeah, I love I just love that song. And there's a really cool version with it. I don't know where it was. You probably know of it with Greg. Was it Greg just strumming an acoustic guitar? Like maybe it was from the 80s or something, or even
Yeah.
the 70s. I'm not sure what show that was from, but that's a really cool version.
By the way, I've been tearing through this since getting it in the mail last week. Alan Paul's book. You had him on.
Yeah, no, I need to get it. I have his other ones here. We're getting.
This is I guess I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and I think I've always thought One Way Out is like the definitive rock memoir or biography, sort of journalistically. But this might top it. Like it's just an amazing.
Really? Wow.
Well, so Alan, I think in the middle of his work for this book, I think it was around 2021. Kurt West, who was the longtime ABB, he pretty much did everything, I think. But
Tour Mystic?
yeah, that's
Is
it.
that
Yeah,
his name?
that's a better way to put it.
I think that's
In
what they call it.
the 80s, at the point I think that the band didn't think they were ever going to get back together, Kurt did a ton of interviews with the band members. I think maybe thinking he was going to do something on his own, book wise or memoir wise. But anyway, I think it was in 2021 that he turned over all those interviews to Alan.
They're
And
on like a set. They're on like a set. He was telling me about this, like these long lost audio recordings, and he was trying to like facilitate the band getting back together, and they did. Is that? I'm gonna let you continue.
You mean back in the 80s?
Well, yeah, when Kirk originally found the tapes or whatever, yeah.
I'm not sure about him trying to facilitate getting the band back together. I just know that according to Alan, that when the interviews took place in the 80s, at that point, that there was no indication that the band was ever going to be back together. And so the interviews, the members of the band, I think, therefore, were a lot more forthcoming, than they otherwise would have been, just because they were looking back on the past, And anyway, so I think a lot of those interviews really helped make the book that much better. And it's basically just it's from the section of time after Dwayne and Barry Oakley passed, and the making of Brothers and Sisters, and how the band just took off after that, with Chuck Leavell and Lamar Williams joined the band, and just an amazing recovery, I guess, from such two devastating events to make some of the most iconic music in rock history, I think. But yeah, anybody out there, if you haven't already gotten the book, it's tremendous so far.
Yeah, hold it up one more time.
Yeah.
We got brothers and sisters, right?
Yes, sir.
Alan Paul, very cool. Yeah.
And another past guest of yours, can't forget this one.
Right.
This is about the Fillmore East shows. Bob Beatty, another great piece of work.
Very cool. Yeah. What else stands out about this set list
Well,
here? Besides everything, the Stay With Me, which I guess they did the dry run of it in Lincoln, Nebraska.
I was gonna ask, is that okay? That was when they debuted it. Was in Lincoln.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I saw that today. I saw a pre. I didn't know if that was the first one that they had done, but God, what a perfect cover for them to take up. I mean, man, just amazing.
That song was played in at the London show, the tribute to Jeff Beck. But
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm not totally sure off the top of my head. Derek and Susan were there. I'm gonna try to bring on someone who was actually there. Let's see if we can do that. That caught my comment saying people should come on here. Bryn, let's see if I'm able to bring them in. But yeah, the woman to woman with I can't stop talking about how they intro Susan and every audio, what video, audio, whatever, especially the audio that's come out. You can see, you can hear rather the crowd pop
Yeah.
when Susan is
Well,
introduced. Such a
also,
cool moment.
Adam, I don't know if you were watching the live stream at this point, but they had a camera on her side stage watching the band playing the song as before she came out, and that was really cool. Just seeing it from that angle, kind of had some
Oh,
dramatic effect there. Like, um, yeah, that is. I love the way they do that with having her wait to come out right before her
the,
vocal.
truth be told, I did not see every moment of these two nights
It
of
was
shows,
real.
but I did hear every moment
Yeah.
multiple times at this point.
It was. Take my word for it. It was really cool to see that right at the beginning. Just have a camera sort of pick up that perspective of her with that backdrop.
There's just such an intensity to these, not intensity in a good way, like an excitement, intensity, an energy in the air when I'm going to a show, when we're at a show, when we're watching one live, or even listening to a recording for the first time. It really does kind of remind me of like the or adrenaline rush more than an intensity. And even it's like it reminds me of like kind of like going to like a sporting event in a lot of ways, like the feeling you get when you're going to a Tedeschi Trucks Band show as as the show approaches.
Oh yeah, definitely have that intensity, that sort of buzz in the air. Yeah, you're asking for highlights. I mean, I'm always biased toward 20 minutes of Passaquan, which each one of those is sort of has a life of its own, so that's always a highlight for me.
You would be proud. I was gonna say you would be proud of me. I was watching this show with a couple of friends who were not like TTB connoisseurs or experts or anything, and I remember Passaquan was on, and the drum duet was coming up, and I was like, "You got to watch this. You got to watch this drum duet. It's better than a solo. You don't go to the bathroom during this. You got to watch this. It's rhythmic, man. It's a communication." And of course, it doesn't disappoint.
What
That
they
song,
think? What they think? The folks you were
yeah,
telling.
I mean, everyone can appreciate it and enjoy it. Of course, there's not a bad thing to say. It's like, oh, that's not something normies will see every day. Is a drum duet on this level. But Passaquan for me, like every time I hear the song, it is kind of a spiritual. It is a spiritual experience, as is seeing this band as a whole. But especially like at some point during that song, I'm kind of my mind goes to a lot of places during that song. I'm kind of thinking about a lot of different things I feel like while appreciating the music and just going on my own like deep mental spiritual journey. But there's always some part of the song where I kind of catch myself doing all of that and I kind of appreciate like this song can get me to such a place where, other songs and bands and music that can't always do that. so consistently. What a special composition is what it is.
Really is. And speaking of the drums, Isaac Eady he is coming to his own um, in the last, I guess, this summer tour. I don't know if it's just just the natural confidence of having been with the band for this long, or what, but he is just showcasing himself a lot more, I think, than previously. And wow, what just an amazing addition to the band, and you can tell that Falcon really is enjoying it too. But gosh, what a talent! Just incredible.
Yeah, I feel it, and you're not the first. Like Brandon Renfro, who also plays drums, a fan, past guest of this show. He was talking up Isaac, and you guys would know as my resident drumming experts that the band and Isaac are literally taking things to the next level. Because I've always thought I got like Tedeschi Trucks band goggles on. I just love everything they do, no matter what, and always see the best in everything, which is kind of the best music out there anyway. But to hear other musicians, literally observe that these guys are getting technically better too is just amazing to see, like, the progression of all this.
Well, and I think early on, or at least until the last, I don't know, 3-4 months or whatever, Falcon was taking on pretty much everything. It was kind of he was driving it all. Whereas more recently, it looks like you're seeing him lay back more, and even Isaac is playing lead on a few songs. But even during the solos, you can see Falcon just sort of laying back and just watching Isaac do his thing, and he's getting a kick out of it. It seems, just pretty wild, the transformation that happens, that has happened with them when you lose a world-class drummer in JJ Johnson, and then you just the meshing of these two is just it's just kind of like a different beast. I don't know if I'm phrasing it right. I mean, JJ and Falcon were awesome in their own respect, but this just, I don't know. It's just
it's its own thing, and you're able to appreciate that on a level that maybe others don't as much. Keep on Smiling is such a uplifting song, and I'm glad that song has become a part of my life. Certainly, it's got like the same kind of energy that like a Fallen has here. I'm gonna try to bring on I believe Randy, who was there, if he's ready for me, and let's see if we can get him in here. How we doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Oh, I hear you, I see you, and you look like a pretty hardcore fan. You got what do you got, posters behind you?
I do have some posters behind me of a few of the iconic TDB shows of my experience.
Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Tell me where we are and how you discovered TTB, and I guess a little about your musical life, and we'll get into your perspective of being out at Red Rocks.
I mean, no doubt. I'll try to sum this up. I have a buddy who never fails with recommendations on music. He recommended Tedeschi Trucks Band to me several years back of my life, and he was not wrong again. He's my musical soulmate of a human being. We like the exact same things in our lives, and since then, it's my wife and I have been taking several trips a year to see TDB, whether it was the Ryman earlier this year or then me not having enough and going to Chicago for 2 nights by myself. And then we took our boys, who are 8 and 5, to Toronto about 2 weeks ago for their first TDB experience. And Wow, what an amazing time to be able to bring your kids to this unbelievable symphony-like experience, because the band members are just so all individually talented, and that's the best way I could always describe it to people who don't listen to their music. It's like, to me, it's like a modern symphony of music. It's incredible, and it's become the soundtrack to our lives here at the Long Island home that we live in, and we're just TDB maniacs, really.
Very cool. I appreciate all that, and good to connect with you. Do you or anyone in your family play music? You guys guitarists or anything, like a guitar player? I mean, any of that stuff? You're just big fans?
Huge fans. I wish I could play music. I'm really trying to inspire my kids to pick up something. My older son's first year of being able to play an instrument, I was begging for the horns. Pick the trumpet. Pick the trombone, because Elizabeth Lee's like my favorite human being alive. He picked the viola. So maybe a violin player, a fiddler, maybe next Alex Hargraves from Billy Strings Band, but maybe he'll get into guitar or another horned instrument at some point. But yeah, it's really cool. I wish we could play music, but I can't. So I do the next best thing, which is listen.
It's a gateway to the cello, or the what do you say, the viola. It's a gateway to guitar or other
Exactly.
instruments.
That's it, right? I mean, and the letter home was like, well, everyone can't pick percussion. Like, everyone wants to be a drummer, right? I'm like, yeah. So I was like, I'll take the next Falcon in the house. I'm fine with Isaac Eady, coming over and showing him a few things on the drums. But it's gonna have to be Derek come over for a family dinner and show him a few things and get him into the guitar or something.
Yeah, let's. I want to hear more about your experience going to the show and being at the. You were at both shows, correct? You might want to just like set your phone down somewhere. I don't know if you could set it so it doesn't fall over. You might have better luck there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go. You can move in a little closer if you like to, or whatever. I don't want. It's just be comfortable. But yeah. So tell me about the trip to Red Rocks, and I'll kind of let you steer the ship. Like, I'm guessing you flew into Colorado. You somehow got to the venue.
It was my wife's and I's 15-year anniversary next month, and we were thinking, where do you go? Where do we want to go this year? Celebrate a milestone. So we said, what says I love you like Red Rocks, right? So we booked a trip a while back, and we flew into Denver. Stayed in Denver for a night, and then made our way out to Red Rocks for the next two. Just really incredible. Got there early the first night. Loved the whole idea with the band. You could order your merch and pick it up before you even get into the place. Not have to wait on any lines. So anything you might need, I got the foils for the first two nights. So it was really nice to be able to grab any of the merch you wanted to without like wasting time. And yeah, so that was night one. Grabbed everything. We were really just we got there early. The last time we had been to Red Rocks, it was pouring. I felt like I didn't get to enjoy the venue as much as I really wanted to. So we got there early and just really had a blast walking around Red Rocks, meeting amazing people, fans everywhere, just the nicest people in the world. When we were in Toronto, my young kids, everybody like took them in like a family, like you would expect. And it was really incredible. I thought some fans might be annoyed. These kids, here they are in the first row, rail riding at 8 and 6, maybe taking up an adult spot, but everybody was so welcoming. So, this time in Red Rocks, no different. Parking lot scene was awesome. Made friends in seconds. TDB is a pretty international language of love, and everybody was cool. And then, we had great seats the first night. Thought it was a great set list. My wife was able to get the set list after the show was over, which was really cool. Always a nice addition when you have a little memorabilia from the show, if you will. I'm a huge sports fan, so it's like going to a game and getting a ball signed, or catching a foul ball, if you will, right? So it was amazing, really cool experience. Red Rocks is the best venue in the planet. I'm pretty confident saying that.
What makes it the best venue in the besides? I mean, maybe it is just the scenic aspect.
Have you been at? Have you
I
been?
have not. It sounds like this is your
Okay,
second
so
time
then
there.
it's really easy. The magic. You walk in, everything's magical. There's like it's this certain experience there. I don't know if it's because it's out in the mountains and it's so iconic and so many people hallowed ground. That place people have played. Beatles. I mean, countless. The Dead. I met a guy who said he's seen the Dead there like 30 times, and I'm like, so it's so crazy. It's just like it's just amazing, amazing place that everyone should go to because just the whole national park, it's just unparalleled. I've never been anywhere where it's so beautiful. It sounds so good. The acoustics are amazing, and you just feel like you're in a fantasy. Is the best way I could explain it.
It's funny because I feel like Red Rocks should and is a bucket list venue for me to see TTB at, and then like right up there, I think I'm coming around to is basically the Ryman.
Yeah,
And
I was at the
I
Rock
think,
for 2 out of 3 this year. Yeah.
yeah, I think maybe what it is that the best outdoor, natural, naturey environment to see TTB in is Red Rocks. If you want to go for that natural, spiritual kind of thing. And then if you want to go for like a man-made historical venue that's also spiritual but in like a different way, like I feel like that's like the Ryman, this sort of
Yeah, because it's
smaller.
like the size of your middle school auditorium, and yet this band's playing there that just blows the house down. And it's totally two different experiences. I agree with you. One's indoor, one's outdoor. Sometimes if you rather be, it's like what time of year do you want? Do you want the summertime because that's the outdoors, or when they play at Ryman, it's cold in February, so it's nice to be indoors. It's really the best of both worlds. I feel so blessed and fortunate to have seen TDB as often as we've seen them. Just really. Working it into my life has been, pretty seamless. And we try to just get there as often as we can. Now that we've kind of incorporated the children into it, I feel like really the sky's the limit as far as what we'll do. Because not only did they go, but they had a great time, and I can't wait to go back.
Well, this was your kids' first TTB shows, or?
In Toronto, it was my kid's first TDB show. They didn't come to Red Rocks with us this run, but the 2 weeks before when we were in Toronto, that was their first show. So we were talking about it, though, bringing them to Red Rocks next year because we were like, they would have a great time here. Why not?
And what jumps out at you about the set list? I was kind of jumping into a little bit of the "Keep on Smiling" and how much I love that song. I'll admit I didn't know the song before TTB introduced it to me.
My wife's a huge fan of that song. Her father played it by Wet Willie when she was a kid. And when I told her, saw the first time it was covered, and I was like, "Is that the same song?" She was like, "Stop, get out of here." And then it was, and I think the version's better than Wet Willie's, as is a lot of TDB covers, if you will. I mean, no offense to the original. They really slay a lot of covers that it's just almost unfair when they touch a song. It's like they make better than the original. So
I was gonna say they make it sound like it's one of their originals.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. And it was awesome. I love that one. It's been refreshing because it's obviously they've only been playing it since the summer tour for a few weeks now. They've been playing that one and the Rolling Stones number, and obviously Mojo and a few others that they really rolled out for this summer that have all been awesome. I've gotten to see so many times. Really lucky. Just really cool experiences at these really cool places. I did Peach Fest earlier to start the month, and that was cool because the whole festival type vibe. And then I did Bridgeport for 2 nights because it was the ferry ride across from where I live in Port Jefferson. And then we did Toronto at the number 4, and then Red Rocks was 5, 6 for the month. So I can't wait until Santander and then Boston and MSG. It's like you would think I just came back from Red Rocks, and like I'm still riding the wave of emotion from that whole trip, but I also can't wait now till the fall. Football and Tedeschi. It's gonna be amazing,
dude. I love the passion for all this stuff. That's so cool. And to me, this seems like totally logical, totally normal. I love this band. I would love to see them as many times as I can, as many times as you're describing, as often and as in the near future as you're just describing. But I'm guessing some people in your life do come up to you and they're like, "You're seeing them again?" Like they just totally don't get it. You get that?
Same band again? I go, yeah. Same band again. I go, it's not like they play the same set list, though. I mean, I hear a totally different show than I heard the night before. And they're like, A lot of people, some people don't get it, but we also have a lot of people in our lives who love music and are so driven by music that they do get it, and it balances out the noise.
Yeah, I'm sure. I feel like with your passion, I'm guessing that you've probably made a few converts over the years,
I feel like I've been making them weekly these days. Is I'll just throw you guys should listen to Live from Oakland. It's like always my go-to. You want to see what Tedeschi's about? Listen to Live from Oakland or what? And then they come back and they go, dude, those guys are unbelievable, all of them.
Yep. No, I introduce songs to people sometimes, depending on like what their kind of favorite genres are, or if they play a certain instrument, or if they're a singer or more of a jammy type person. I might send someone to Passaquan or to something more Susan centric, you know, depending on where they're coming, you know, their favorite stuff is.
Yeah, exactly where their area of interest lies. You try
And
to
then
feed
that
them
just
that direction.
branches them out to other areas of TTB, because, like, you know, that's just how things evolve as a music fan and a fan of this band. Anything else from night one jump out at you, either songs or
Well, like
experiences?
Made Up Mine is my wife's favorite TDB song, so obviously that was awesome to end the if you will the show before the encores. Just Won't Burn. I'm a sucker for anything Susan does that's ballad wise, because I think she's like the greatest singer ever, and so when she gets to belt out anything, I'm elated. And then Show Me is my absolute favorite TDB encore out of all their the ones they run through the gamut. Why? I feel like you're still in the bathroom stall ending the show and people are singing Show Me a Way. Everyone's still singing the song and it's just so like infectious. And everyone gets their due in the song. I told you how I feel about Elizabeth. You get that trombone solo, and she goes back and forth with Derek, and it's awesome.
It's a party.
It is. It's like, and I love New Orleans and everything that's brass. So it's like a big party, like you said. Everyone's leaving there. I'm telling you, every one of the shows I've had that as an encore. I feel like the energy leaving that place is unbelievable.
Yeah. Whatever song they played that night, that's my favorite encore. That's what I always say. The current show is my favorite one. It's the best one. This
That's it. I went to Toronto. I'm like, oh, that was the best show I've ever seen them at. Oh, this was the best. Red Rocks, the two best shows I've ever seen them. It's like everyone. It's like, can they all be better than the time before that?
This was the perfect set list. That's what we always say. Here's night two. You can jump in too, Larry, if you want to have anything to say. Of course, if you have any questions for Randy.
Randy, were you there too? You said it rained on you the last time at Red Rocks. Was that 2 years ago when it was hailing?
So when last time I was at Red Rocks was for Nathaniel Rateliff. It wasn't even for Tedeschi. So now it was like I get to see my favorite band in the world at the best venue, and I thought the weather was perfect. I mean, it drizzled, which in Denver weather, if that's the worst you're gonna get, some drizzle. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I had some friends of mine went to the one 2 years ago when they had to stop because it was hailing. It's a horrible storm, TTB. I think they tried to come back. They did come back late night, I believe, and played
eventually, to I think a smaller crowd. I remember because the Nugs cameras stay on and the stream stays live during the rain delay. So I was kind of watching a few minutes of just like people getting soaked and inebriated, and it was pretty entertaining. I will say that. Night two, we got Anyhow, Statesboro, Blues, Here My Dear, Fallen, Got My Mojo Working, Do I Look Worried? Yes, It Will, Circles Round the Sun. Then Dreams, I Wish I Knew, Outside Women Blues, Midnight Harlem, It Hurts So Bad, Heartbreaker, I Want More, and Bex Bolero, and then the encore, I Can't Make You Love Me, and Space Captain. Yeah, this is just an awesome set list as well. Stellar all around. I love the circles into Dreams. A number of people have been commenting about that, and it's interesting.
Well, because you get circles, right? You get circles, and like Passaquan is coming, but they played Passaquan the night before, so it's not coming. True. And it's like, what are they going to do? Dreams, absolutely perfect, right? I mean, like, could you pick a better Elizabeth Reed? Where are you going? That's going to be just as equal to going into Passaquan these days.
Right. It's an epic, emotional almond cover.
Randy, I don't know how I think it sounds like you were probably pretty close to the stage, but the 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 stream, the Nug stream, had the drone angle,
Yeah.
and during Dreams, it was almost like it was just surreal. There was a there was a storm, probably, I don't know,
In
40
Denver,
miles,
further out, right? Yeah.
and like the the lightning flashes were almost going with the accents of the song. Like it was crazy. Like I was like, is this a dream? Not no.
Oh
It's
yeah, right. Is it?
I gotta go back and watch.
It was
I've
it
listened to
was
the music
wow.
10 times, but yeah, well, I gotta check that out. Wow.
Yeah, so I've gone back and looked at the live stream because I was obviously there. So I rewatched it on the plane ride home from Denver, and and I could see the storm in the background. It looked amazing. I was like, holy crap, this is you know, like you said, it was perfect to the music. It was almost like it was you know, meant to be.
Yeah.
Man,
So
it's
yeah,
amazing how they
I agree with
connect.
you, Adam. The random circles in a set list, which you don't get a lot. I mean, in the last year, almost every time Circles is played, Passaquan follows. It'd be a handful of times that it hadn't been.
I really like it hurts so bad too. The old Susan tune. It has a
Oh,
real kind of like
that was her
Motowny
ballad.
oldies quality.
Yeah, and this is what she says, Adam, before the performance of that, right? She goes, "I have this song I'm gonna play. I hope you guys like it." So it's like, yeah, like, I hope you like it. No, Susan, we like everything you do. I mean, it could be this awful song, we'd all be loving it, but you know, I looked at my wife afterwards. I go, man, I don't want to offend her. I was okay. Like, what does she think? Everything she touches is amazing.
Yeah, I know she's releasing the 25th year anniversary of
Just
Just
Won't
Won't
Burn.
Burn is coming out. Was It Hurt So Bad wasn't on Just Won't Burn, or what was it?
No, well, I don't believe it was.
Yeah, it was not. But Voodoo Woman, I think.
Absolutely.
Oh wait, yeah, Hurt So Bad was on there.
Okay, Voodoo Woman definitely was on there, and yeah,
Voodoo Woman was is being released as a outtake that she's released. I think that is out on Spotify and all that. Go to @Susan Tedeschi Trucks on Instagram and follow her link. She's posting a bunch of that. I posted some of it too, but yeah, this is yeah, It Hurts So Bad is something that I'm happy to see in the set list. And the vocal on that is super powerful. I remember commenting about a recent show when they had that in the number 2 slot. I forget what show it was, but it was second in the set list. And I was like, damn, that's like getting I Pity the Fool, like second song of the night. That like kind of like vocal power and roaring and
yeah.
snarl and growl from Susan. Like it's such a awesome performance to see. Yeah, this is just spectacular. You got your Statesboro and you got your Fall In. Derek sounded like he was dipping in for seconds and thirds on solos, and the bluesy Yes We Will.
It was the best Fall In I've heard them do yet. It was unbelievable, the Fall In. Go back and listen to Fall In, and you'll see just how they changed it up just a little bit. And you're right, Derek did go back for second time, you know, servings on a few of the songs. He was in rare mood where he was jumping in solos left and right, and awesome. But like, yeah, you know, it's not like the rest of the band didn't still get theirs, because we all know everybody gets theirs in TDB.
Right. Afro Blue Skydog comments here, 100% Fall In was unreal. We agree. Oop. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where to go. I mean, I just love all these songs, and just they're all so memorable. I Can't Make You Love Me is always a powerful moment, and
the intro to I Wish I Knew is always awesome for me. You know, you get the heavy sax in there, and then you know, it's just awesome. Efren just really a great intro into I Wish I Knew. It's like, you know, it just gets everybody a little going, and then obviously the drum solo in the Beck's Bolero. Isaac's just off the charts these days. Really, you know, I think they're just performing at the elite level. Like they're at the pinnacle point of the band. Everyone's meshing and gelling, and I just feel like it's the musical climax of their arc.
Gold, I keep referring to it as a golden age, at least in part because the lineup is the most settled it's been, at least for quite some time. And they have obviously the I Am the Moon project under their belt, which was the first album and original recordings done with this current lineup. So I see it as kind of like a golden age. And also this set list, the order of it is just really perfect. And there's such a method to the madness.
Well, have you heard Derek's like a lunatic when it comes to the way he breaks down the set and everything? I mean, I've read some things, but I've never gotten any real clarity. I don't know if you have as well, like how they determine what, because I looked at the last few Red Rock shows to see like what were their encores last year, then they probably won't be their encores this year. And that's not so. I mean, Space Captain was an encore last year and this year. And so I told you Show Me was my favorite encore. Space Captain's by far and away my second favorite encore, right? So getting both of those, I swear, we left Long Island. I said to my wife, if I could get two encores, it would be Show Me and Space Captain. I was like, but they won't do Space Captain because they did it last year. But I'm wrong.
I think that stuff is taken into consideration. It's not a deal breaker that they did something last year, but I would bet that they go into making that decision with that knowledge either way. But to think about how I Wish I Knew comes right after Dreams, and just listening back on the fan recordings, it really is the perfect song to follow that, because Dreams is such like one of those epic, emotional Allman Brothers songs that's going to take me to sometimes a dark place, an uplifting place, which is a lot of, which is totally understandable, an emotional place. And then I Wish I Knew is almost like a little like this levity to the right word. You can breathe a little bit afterwards. It's a totally different energy to Dreams. It has more of an upbeat quality to it. It's like, okay, let's get back to the party. And then you can continue the party with Outside Woman Blues with the real rocker. And then you're kind of getting back to sort of more of the moody, emotional Midnight in Harlem. And it's just like, I don't know, it's also perfect. And it seems purposeful. Like, they're curating the music for us.
And I don't know. I know at one point late in that second show, Susan remarked, "Sorry, y'all, I'm not used to being up here in this altitude," or something to that effect.
I caught that, yeah.
But during Midnight in Harlem, I mean, she seemed emotional. And who knows? That's just, maybe she was tired.
Yeah. I saw the emotion too after what she said. We'll be back again next year, right? And she gave a look over at Derek like, yeah, I said it. Almost like, I mean, we all expect them to be back, but then this year, with obviously people losing their minds over no Beacon Run and no, I think, some of that probably is like, I don't want to say reassuring the fans that we'll be back. We're still going to play these venues. We're not going to play stadiums. We don't sell out 20,000 every night, guys. We're a blues band, but that's how I felt. She was emotional, and she did look over, like I said, at Derek, like, yeah, I said it. We'll be back next year. It was cool.
It's a tradition. They have to come back to Red Rocks. It's an annual tradition. I think every year since they've been a band, pretty much.
Right. Basically. Yeah, I mean, it would break some people's hearts if they decided not to do that. But I'm always thinking of the band and what they need to do, and how they're gonna make the best moves for every one of them, their fan base. I put a lot of trust forward with them.
Right. I'm kind of the same way, and it's like, at this point, we've gotten 5 original albums, and one of them was like basically a quadruple album. Yeah. And then all the live recordings, and then all the Susan's solo career, and Derek Truck's band, and Allman Brothers stuff. So it's like, if this band never plays another note, another new recording, whatever, never comes out, I feel like I have so much music and enough music to sustain myself really, like, for the rest of my life. So everything, that every new piece of music from this band that comes out, it's just like gravy to me. And just, of course, as you guys feel the same way, it's just appreciate it.
Yeah.
Where's the there we go. I wanted to pull up the picture here of this is the picture, the band posted on their social media
with the team, right? With all the with all the crew. I love it.
with all the crew at Red Rocks.
Bobby
I don't know.
Bobby
Probably
Tiss is the man.
Tease, yeah. This dude, the sound guru, and Bradley here does social media. Past guest of the show. Yeah, super cool group of people. I mean, looks like a family to me.
Right.
Like that's the hope. You know what I wanted to ask you, Randy, and I'll ask Larry this too, because you were talking about Larry was talking about Fish a little bit earlier, and you were talking about, I think, just being a music junkie and going to other shows. So I'm sure you see a fair amount of other bands. How does the fan interaction experience like compared from like fan base to fan base? I'm sure there's overlap with a lot of these things, and it depends on the size of the fan base. If you have a bigger fan base, obviously you're going to have a higher percentage of people that may not be the most pleasant to be around. That just comes with any group. But just generally speaking, like dealing with and interacting with TTB fans specifically versus other fan communities, how do you guys, how do those compare to each other? Do they all fight about sitting and standing at shows?
Go ahead, Randy.
I mean, the bands I see, most people love to stand. So with TDB, it is a little different. I had to get used to it a little bit. Some things thrown at me by like someone upset that I'm like standing and having fun. So usually don't make a big deal. Like I have a water bottle, nothing crazy. And we've moved since then. I've kind of got my seats up close where everybody stands for TDB, and then I don't have any issues. Everybody wants to be part of the party and dance and having fun. So I kind of just make it a point. Some of the fans, it is a little older base. Not that the Dead and Company isn't as well, but everybody's really like nice and polite in TDB. There's no issues at all. I think the fan base is amazing. They just not always like it's not the rowdiest, like which is good because I'm not getting any younger. I don't need it to be very rowdy. I'm really there for the music than the rowdiness.
It's you know what it is? It's kind of an eclectic fan base. I mean, obviously Skew's a little bit older, but just from doing this podcast and diving into this band, it's like the fans are different depending on where they're performing. They're different in Lincoln, Nebraska, and Kansas City than New York City, than a destination show like Red Rocks, then Europe is a whole nother type of fan from what I experienced. And obviously they're going to Japan, so that's its own unique vibe
which I try to get the wife on board, but she hasn't taken the bait. I said it would be perfect time to go to Japan.
There's still time. They added another Tokyo show from what I understand not that long ago.
Yeah.
What about you, Larry, about the fan base, comparing fan bases?
I guess speaking of Red Rocks, the only time I've been to Red Rocks was in 2015. I went and saw Widespread Panic for 3 nights. And it's significantly different. With Widespread Panic, or I guess Fish, it's a freaking party. And the fan base probably not as clean as Tedeschi Trucks. I don't know. I think sort of getting to what Randy said, it's a more mature. I think that it's a reflection of the music. I think the presentation from TTB it's a more refined version of jamming, I guess. A more cerebral, a professional approach to it, I guess you could say. And as I've sort of evaluated, hey, how have I sort of been drawn to TTB so much in recent years? I'm thinking maybe I'm just getting older, and I don't want to listen to a 30-minute jam, as much as I did 10 years ago. And I want to hear a tight, and I love Passaquan as much as anybody, but I'm just saying I want to hear a tighter delivery of it, I guess you could say, in terms of the presentation. But no, I think the Tedeschi Trucks crowd is definitely older, definitely a lot more people who are prone to sitting. I like sitting. Don't hold it against me, Randy.
I won't. Just don't get upset with me for standing either.
I don't get mad at anybody for standing.
Look, I'm bringing people together on this show.
I usually pick a balcony seat, preferably the first or second row, where I don't.
That's how it's done.
I
choose to do that
so that everybody's happy, right?
Yeah. So
yeah.
But no, it's not to disparage, fans of other bands. I mean, I think any of the bands we've mentioned, has some seriously hardcore fans who are paying a lot of attention to what's going on. I just think this crowd is probably, I don't know, more reserved and cerebral, maybe, if I'm putting it the right way.
I think so. Tedeschi Truck strikes a good fans, just obviously very broadly speaking, of being sort of a balance between obviously like people are sitting, people who are more into the music, and other people who are maybe dancing, standing, and more into the party atmosphere. It's kind of like what you make of it, like in a lot of ways. And I kind of think that's something unique and something to be appreciated. And for me, I'm kind of maybe that's how I am, is kind of in the middle of those things. Like I'm not always studying every technical thing going on stage. But I'm there for the music, certainly.
With,
You know.
And I would say too, and this is just me at TTB, I have to sit almost just to absorb it all. There's so much going on, and it's such a powerful thing that it's almost like being at church, where I have to just sort of sit there and take it all in. I don't know.
I went to five Beacon shows last year, and I was in the balcony, but I did end up sitting for most of the final show. And I think, at least in partly, because I was just kind of tired and emotionally exhausted more than anything from all the music and standing for most of the first.
So when they did the letter to close it in the Beacon, you didn't have much left.
No, I'm sure I stood for that. Though. I think I made it. We got a comment here from Brandon Renfro, of course, past guest of the show. Hey, Adam, another great Red Rocks. Agreed. Went to Red Rocks in 2004 to see Allman Brothers Band. It's the venue that every music fan should attend. Yeah, we were mentioning that earlier. The spiritual, outdoorsy, the special, how special. Because I could see Tedeschi Trucks anywhere, and it feels special. But just to be here, I'm sure takes it to another level. Anything else we should cover or discuss or mention? Randy, you said you got a slide over the weekend. You could tell that story if you'd like.
Yeah. So I have to give, I always give credit where credit's due, man. So I'm in Chicago earlier. Like I said, I went by myself early in the year. I couldn't have enough. The 3 days at Ryman wasn't enough. So I figured, let me go to Chicago. And the second night I'm sitting next to, you've had on the show before. His name's Jeff, right? So I'm sitting next to Jeff, who's on the show. He came on your show after that Chicago run. And after the show was over, everyone runs to the stage and everybody grabs the set list. And there's 12 band members. They have 25 set lists. I mean, it's awesome, but it's a little bit of a dime a dozen to get the set list. I remember him coming back in Chicago. I'm like, did you get the set list? He goes, I got the slide. And I go, you got Derek's slide? And I was like, couldn't believe this. I was like a 2-year-old. I'm like, now I got to start going to the stage and seeing if I could get Derek's slide, right? So I would say 10 shows later, here we are from Chicago in April till now, probably about 10 shows later. I've tried to get the slide at each and every one of those shows. Night one of Red Rocks, I yelled at Bobby. He looks at me over. I tell him, hey, Bobby, my kids want the slide. They want it as an ornament for the Christmas tree. He looks over at me, laughs, right? He laughs. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I sent my buddies a text that night. I knew I need a new approach for night two because, I don't think it's working. So night two comes by, we're ready to leave. My wife's like, I'm not, I don't need another set list tonight. I just want to kind of get out of here. I go, we're going to wait an hour trying to get off this mountain. Let's wait an hour with the slide or a set list or something, right? So she goes, all right. I drag her over there. So they already handed out the set lists. I yelled at Bobby, my kid. I tell him the same thing. He's laughing. The other crew members are laughing at him because I got a big, loud New York, Long Island voice, and I'm loud. And it's after the show. I probably had a few in me, So I'm yelling, Bobby, and the rest of the crew members are all laughing. He comes over with the slide and he hands it to the person next to me, and I'm like, oh man, right? Like this was my chance. I turned around. I said, that's so awesome. You got the slide. I was really happy for the woman. But I was really, and then the people in the group are like, that should have been you. That should have been you, right? So we're walking out. I see Bobby's packing up some more stuff and this and that, and I'm not done, being a New Yorker, I guess, and I'm ready to leave the venue, and I go, Bobby, I'm not done until I get what I need. So he goes, what are you looking for, bro? I go, Derek's slide. He goes, wait right there, man. Just wait right there. Comes over. Hits me with Derek's slide.
There you go.
Inscribed. I'm trying to get that for you guys. A little inscription Derek Trucks, very cool things, gigantic. I don't know how he gets his finger in this thing. I definitely don't have fingers like this, but very cool. We really been just a little, like I said, my wife really wants to kind of throw it on the Christmas tree and make it an ornament. She's not quite sure how we're going to do that yet, but it was a really cool experience, and just an unbelievable weekend. Like I said, the hierarchy of our musical journey, I felt like, was this past weekend, and it doesn't really get much better than that for an anniversary.
Very cool. Happy anniversary, and thank you for coming on the show and sharing all that. Such good stuff all around. When did you say your next TTB show is, and when? Do you have any coming up as well, Larry?
Go ahead, Randy.
Just the three in September. They do the Pennsylvania, right, in Reading, to I think warm up for the bigger crowd. It's about 10,000 that place holds inside. So I feel like they're warming up for the two MSG shows. Gives them a little bit see how the audio sounds in those bigger venues, because they added that Santander late, and I was like, oh, Reading's only 3.5 hours from me, so I could do that and the two Garden shows the following week. So that's the plan.
I'm hoping to get to the Charlotte show, which is just a couple hours from here, but we'll see, because football season is really busy. So,
and then they do the Outlaw Fest in Charlotte, right? Raleigh, Charlotte, and then they play in Wilmington solo.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Reading, I'm looking at Reading on a map. That kind of draws in people from what do you get, Philly and a little.
You get a little bit of New York. It's not far from New York. You get the tri-state area where obviously they're big, and then some mid-Atlantic over there where the whole Northeast where they're really biggest fan base.
Right, no doubt, no doubt. Very cool, guys. I appreciate the time. Anything else we should cover or mention about the shows, TTB? Anything?
Thanks for having me on, man.
Appreciate you doing this stuff. I love I've been watching for a while now. Like I said, in April when I went to Chicago, Jeff said, I'm going to go on Adam's show tonight. I go, I've been watching Adam's show a bunch. I just never had the inclination to go on. And then after these Red Rocks, I said to my wife on the flight home, I said, I think I might try to get in touch with them. I feel like we finally have a story to tell. And
I want to thank you. I appreciate it. I want to continue to tell people out there, if you're going to shows, come on and recap them. It just helps me kind of live vicariously through all of y'all. If I can't get to every show myself, and I can't get to every show myself, but between your enthusiastic recap and Larry's detailed viewing on the Nugs stream and listening to the fan audio and looking at pictures and posters, I feel like I was at Red Rocks. I was at the Ryman earlier this year. I was in Chicago. I was at Bridgeport, Connecticut too. I went to these shows. It's cool for me to cures the fear of missing out.
I think we're just all happy to talk about the band's amazing, just ascent to perfection for those amazing lovers of the TDB world. They just, it doesn't right now. It doesn't get better for me. Music's just insane. And a lot of people say oh, music's not really good out there these days. And I'm thinking the complete opposite. I'm going to more music than I ever have in my life. And there's a lot of other really, really good bands out there. So, it's just, I think that helps TDB get to the level they're at, right? Because you got some of these other bands that make them play even better.
Well said. I appreciate it. Thank you again, guys. And let's talk more soon.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
You got it. Later. So there you go. Episode 128, recapping Tedeschi Trucks Band out at Red Rocks with Larry Williams and newcomer to the show, Randy, who was actually out there for the shows. So I definitely appreciate his time for sharing his experience. Hope everyone's doing okay out there at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube. Please subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I'll be sure to get out an audio version of this show soon enough as well. AdamChoit.com for all my personal stuff, comedy show, my other podcast, short film, my other projects, all the things that I'm working on. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com. That will get you to everything related to this show, including how to listen and watch and all the social media. It's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. TedeschiTrucksBand.com is the band's official website. definitely go there, buy tickets to upcoming shows, buy the merch, join the Swamp Family fan club, download the app. Lots of cool stuff in there. And I'm really not just saying that. Like, the content coming out of the band has just gotten better and better in terms of their social media and fan perks. I mean, obviously, like the nugs.net. What did someone say? Someone said that or for one of the Nug streams, that I don't know if it was the Red Rocks one or a previous one, that like just having access to a live stream, one single live stream of this band, is worth the annual subscription, which is not expensive anyway, to join the fan club. And I agree. We are all, I'm sure, having those thoughts while watching the live stream. It's just like, oh, this is totally worth my fan club membership. Just these two shows alone, just one of the shows alone. But yes, TedeschiTrucksBand.com for everything related to the band. Thank you, Tedeschi Trucks Band. Thank you to the crew. Thank you for the Red Rock Show. Thank you to the tapers who dropping music on archive.org. Apologies for not having the names handy right now. But I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate all you guys listening as well. I know the band is not going to be on the road for quite some time, but I'm going to keep doing some more episodes. I'm sure more content to come until more recaps with fans as we move towards fall. But again, thank you everyone. Let's talk soon. Peace.